You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
I'm Dave.
Friends, this is episode 258 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you're new here, this is the podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure biking, bikepacking, bike camping, or just playing bikes. Now, these two folks have been... you're just returning from...
Returning to cell service.
Returning to cell service, okay. From Grinduro, which, I mean, I definitely had FOMO, but my bank account didn't have FOMO, so it was... what appears to be a stellar sort of an event. I did have serious FOMO from watching all the Instagram posts from just about everybody I know who was like, come to Grinduro, don't miss Grinduro, always make it to Grinduro. Why would you ever miss Grinduro?
But if you were there, you could see where all that money went.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, then that's what we're here to do. So my task for you two on this episode is to convince me that, in fact, Grinduro is a not-to-miss event coming up next year in 2025, which is they probably won't do it next year.
I will tell you, as of this year, it'd be your style. The last 2 years before that, no.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
We'll figure out what that means.
They did a little sprucing up. I think it was pretty nice this year.
Joey, just before you left, you pinged me with a new sticker idea. Literally, as
just
you were...
randomly. I was pulling out of here.
As you were driving out of the parking lot, and you're like, hey...
look at the Burger King
sign. Look at the sign over there. And maybe replace with gravel. So, of course, I did the magic. And then, one thing leads to another, and we're trying something new with this new Gravel King logo. Dave, have you seen this?
I have seen it. It's cute as can be. You're going to get sued from two different directions.
I am just waiting for the cease and desist order. But
from who?
From Burger King. I'll say.
What about Panaracer?
Oh, well, one of the two. Yeah, you're right.
Man, I didn't even think
you could come at it from two different directions. So it is, as they say.
We sold
I'm
a lot
quitting
already.
this podcast meeting again. Sorry, I'm going to bail out of this meeting again.
We have not sold a lot. We've sold like a handful of T-shirts. But, folks, if you want that, and if you want to say you've got one before the cease and desist order arrived, then you should definitely jump on it, because as soon as the cease and desist order arrives from Burger King and or Panaracer, whoever the race is on to see which one will actually get to me first, we've got another Lego gravel. That's one that scares me a little bit. Those folks are very litigious.
Which one? Lego?
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a Lego one now?
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't released it yet.
Oh.
So,
I don't think Burger King is looking for a Mid-Atlantic gravel podcast. I would be worried a little about Panaracer, but I think that's probably least of their worries.
Well, it has nothing to do with them. It's only about a flame broiled burger. So I don't know. We'll see. But you can go to the website now, graveltraveldirt.com. You can get the stickers and you can get the T-shirts, which I'm using a new system. It's print on demand, so I'm not having to stock them, which makes it a little bit easier. But it's the same quality T-shirt. It's the next level, because everybody knows that I'm a T-shirt snob. It is that next level tri-blend that's cotton, poly, rayon, real thin material or something. It's I went and you could select which material you wanted. I went with the lightest weight material possible. So that's out there. Go get it if you want it. Take a look. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Joey, there's a new Crux out?
Yeah, it's in the shop over here. Specialized, finally released an affordable Crux for the average. It's still, relatively, it's still expensive.
Sure.
But there's aluminum Crux for the cyclocross racers and gravel racers. Starts at $2,600.
So it
has a frame set option that's like $1,500.
So it's the same bike, same geometry? Sometimes I know carbon to aluminum. Geometry changes.
No, it's the same. They built it. I think it's the new Apex group set on there, which is really nice.
Okay.
The hoods are totally reshaped, just like the Axis stuff. Big, flat, pretty bulky levers, so you can find them. A lot of braking power.
Okay.
It's pretty solid. $2,600. You can get a lot of bike for it.
Nice.
That's a bike. Yeah, you throw on some slicks and it doubles up as a really good all-road bike, and then race it in the fall for cyclocross, and then race it in the fall again in Pennsylvania and other places.
So a lot of folks look for that one bike to rule them all. And
Jess rules it all with it.
Yeah,
a lot of people do.
Yeah, nice.
Gabe, Dr. Gabe, he's like won a road race or a crit on it. He's run a cyclocross race. He's raced all over on it. He's done the 120 unpaved on it, I think. All kinds of stuff.
And that's the carbon version.
Yep,
that's the carbon version. So this is the
yeah, that's still what the Crux does. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's just fresh out. So they have to come here to see it. That's countrywide. You're the one that has it.
The embargo got released today, so we have them in the shop, and now they're on Specialized site.
Okay,
we got them last week.
Okay. So if you're anywhere in the country and you want to see this bike, you need to come to the Patuxent Adventure Center in Lusby, Maryland. Is that what I'm hearing? In Solomons, Maryland. Okay, that works. It works for me. Dave, anything in your world that's new and interesting that you want to shout out? I'm still coming down off of that Gravel Cycling Hall of Flame high.
With your flame-broiled
still on
Burger
fire.
King.
Yeah.
The flame-broiled Cycling Hall of Fame.
It all ties in.
Joey, you want to jump over in Strava Club real quick? Let's hit that.
Basically, we had a Pennsylvania sweep. Nick Marzano, and we all know, I say Nick Marzano from Philly, 185.1 H, or Helena, that we all know from Warriors Mark, Pennsylvania with 148.9, and Pamela McCormick from Erie, Pennsylvania with 175.6.
Good job, everybody.
We're up to 139.6 for this past week, and we're at 1,016 members.
At this rate, we pick up one a week.
Yeah.
So that's good. We're growing, and I think we missed the 1,000 mark for doing mustaches and beards and all of that crazy nonsense. But maybe a full body shave by the time we get to 2,000.
Joey, Dave, you can take my spot fully.
Joey hates me.
I already offered Dave my spot. He can have it.
Nope, you're not going anywhere.
No, I took Wes's.
You are the new Wes. You're the new Wes. Oh, well, you've got to dye your hair an odd color. Okay.
Going gray, so is gray an odd color?
Sure. Yeah, it works. Like I said earlier, my task for the two of you is to convince me that Grinduro is something that is not to be missed. I don't know how we want to run this down, but I'll set the stage. Can I set the stage?
Yeah.
Joey was there working as a mechanic. So you're going to get that side of view of the world of Grinduro. And Dave, you were there as a participant and a promoter for Unpaved, correct?
Mostly participant.
I watched Dave at an aid station hand out some Unpaved stickers.
That's
so he
right.
was doubling up.
That's what you do. That's what you
Side
do.
gig, yeah.
That's what you do. So let's start with the participant side of it. Describe for me and for all of the listeners who weren't there, and honestly, like I said earlier, it sounds like the entire world was there. What is this Grinduro event?
Grinduro is officially the shake-up mix of gravel in its full range of what gravel is, along with regroup racing, segment racing, enduro style of where you ride together and then you come to a segment and you punch that segment and then you hang out at the end of it and then you regroup and then you ride to an aid station and you refuel. And those aid stations have espresso, donuts, salted nuts, French fries right out of a fryer. Amazing.
Joey and I both looked at each other, and we were trying to see who was going to drop D's nuts first. But
I was about the French fries.
D's Larry's nuts are coming.
So
so it's an all mix plus it's a 3-day weekend. It's fun and game rides on Friday as people start gathering, and then your friends are setting up camp and everyone's hanging out and there's good music playing and a food truck and all that sort of casual start in the Friday. We're doing this together. Saturday is the main event, but again, while competitive, it is mostly camaraderie. Okay. And that part's awesome. It's a long, hard ride, no joke about it. Even the shorter version, there was no just about it. I think they got more muck than the 70-milers got on their one of those notorious shortcuts we're famous for in Pennsylvania. It might be shorter on distance, but not on time. So they had one of those. And then big party afterwards, more music, more hilarity, more people gathering and hanging out all night, talking about their day. And Sunday morning, casual, slow start, people breaking camp, some people going out for a spin, the hangover ride, and saying good night, and we'll see you again soon. So it's one of those, it's more like a revival gathering festival than competitive event.
Where was it? Where does it take place?
This takes place in the Loyalsock area, the Endless Mountains region of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
The venue itself is it was once a Little League camp where like Little League teams, it's not too far from Williamsport where the Little League World Series is.
Sure, okay.
And so they set up this camp expo area, a lot of tent space, also a few cabins and the cafeteria and showers. And, so it had some of those facilities, which is great. And then it rode around the Endless Mountains indeed. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 number-ish climbs of note, I would call them, in various types. Then also descents, either fast gravel descents or chunky single track descents or a good Jeep double track road. So, a lot of good variety in that.
So it sounds like it was a combination of a lot of things.
It is a combo platter of everything.
It sounds like there's racing involved for those that choose. It also sounded like, from what I saw on some Instagram, it was like a make your own adventure kind of thing. It was, where the aid stations were. If you wanted to do a route a little differently, maybe you could do that.
You could make some choices when you're out there. There's definitely some splits. You can go, where am I at? And that's what I did last year, riding with a friend, new to gravel, so then new to chunky gravel. And so we took our time through that, and he did great and was having a good time. But by the time we got to the French fry stop, which was a loop that comes back on itself, we were like, let's skip the loop and just start riding back.
Okay, all right.
But this time I ended up doing the whole kit and caboodle, which I'm glad I did now that I'm doing this episode, so I can talk about all of it, even what I probably should have skipped.
And it sounds like that Endless Mountains, I'm hearing that over and over again in 2024. Endless Mountains, they're doing the... there's a big long bikepacking, the Endless Mountains bikepacking thing that's coming up, I think in September. Yeah. So that I'm hearing that term a lot. They're getting it out there. That's great. How many people? How many people there for the weekend?
I think they had 350 signed up. So probably ballpark around 300.
So that's a good number of people that you were not overrun. Okay. That's cool. I like that. And there was food, there was beer, there was music. What went on there?
And there was endos with a beer substitute.
Okay.
Your CBD/THC, or whatever the legal amount of THC you can have in a beverage. Jake's been working on that, which is pretty awesome. Seltzers. Espresso, coffee, vendors, Schwalbe, Shimano, Wahoo. They also had a small builder little exhibit area. They had some movies going on.
GT was there.
Waffle truck.
Okay.
Oh, GT. Thank you. I knew there was missing one. Yeah. Important one. A fairly important one.
And then music. Did I hear music? Or I'm making
bluegrass?
Bluegrass. See, that's perfect.
It was perfect. They were really good bands this year.
Yeah, that's perfect. Who was there? Any clue? Shout out to any of the names if you can remember.
Like Mandolin Orange. No, I don't know. I don't know who they were.
I didn't get the names.
But they did a pretty good job.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
They had some really good covers of other stuff too. That was like that.
Oh, excellent.
That's a very nice version.
So now, Joey, from your perspective, from working it, because I know you weren't supposed to go, because we talked about going, and then Jack and I talked about going, and then you and Jack and I talked about going, and then
I never brought up the conversation about riding it this year.
Right, but then you ended up having to go up to fill in for Nate.
I was fake Nate.
You were fake Nate. Did anybody call you
Nate? Very good
Nate
substitute.
I had dozens of people come up to me, which was kind of cool. So I apologize if I don't remember everyone's names. But yeah, fake Nate.
And
fake Nate was apparently Nate was supposed to help lead the Milky Way ride. Nate never told me. And then what's his name from Wahoo? Because my friend Dave that works the mustache guy that led the Wahoo ride comes over. He's like, "Are you Hush Money?" I was like, "Not really." He's like, "Oh, I thought someone was going to lead the ride with me." And this is like 5 minutes before the Milky Way ride started. I was like, "Dude, I brought a flat bar cruiser bike. Like,
So you did take a bike. We talked about whether you were going to take a bike.
I rode
or
it to the bathroom twice.
Yeah. Well, that's probably
Smart.
what you needed it for.
Yeah, I was just lazy. It wasn't that far of a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fake Nate, and then I guess Nate was supposed to do the Milky Way ride. And
What is the Milky Way ride?
Dave did. I'll let Dave describe it.
Dave,
The
what's
Milky Way ride is around, I think, 8 o'clock or so before it gets dark, but still dusk. A ride, I think it was about a 7-mile ride up, definitely up, to a vista spot. And where there's a pretty good dark skies from that area.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it took, 45 minutes to get there. So we're there gathering. It's turning 9 o'clock, and we look up, and it's pretty overcast and not dark yet. So we ate a bunch of Milky Way mini candy bars and pedaled back down. But then we got good stars when we were at camp. So
Yeah.
Still fun. So there was a bunch of
super fun.
Bunch of different rides. It sounds like it wasn't just there was like the main event. How many rides?
And earlier
were there?
in afternoon, Friday afternoon, there was also the prologue ride, which involved a bunch of feats of strengths, like how many skips can you make on a rock across this creek? How many? There's a mini golf course they stopped at. You got a certain hole. How many strokes get in that hole? And I forget all the ones. I didn't get to do this year. I did last year. Super fun. About a 8-10 mile ride maybe. Very mellow with gathering around and finding fun stuff to do. And you got bonus points and you got prizes. And so they gave out some tires and other things that evening.
Excellent. So that just lends to the overall ambiance of there being just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there was so much going on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, that was. I set up a booth, or not a booth. I used my car.
Yeah.
I didn't bring an awning just because I figured it'd be all over.
Mm-hmm.
I had some weird repairs on Friday night. I don't even know how to describe the Blinky tandem to anyone. And Tommy from Cutlass Velo was over there, like staring at it with me, like, Tommy. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I knew what I was doing, but like, I look at Tommy like a very highly respected mechanic in our area, and owns his own shop and very detailed oriented. He's not a retail bike shop like this or a typical one. But I finished that thing and I looked at him. I was like, "What the f?" And but Justin and is Arla? No, why do I always say Ari? They wrote the whole. They got to do it. We switched some gearing, but it was really cool what Belinky did to set up. It was a tandem, but on the back he had a drive system that was bolted on higher, so Ari could ride. He's this tall.
Okay.
It's like a crank over a crank.
Yeah, but then it was actually attached with other chains so that he could actually pedal and put his power into it.
Okay.
It was pretty cool.
No,
it was
nice.
cool watching him ride it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah,
That's fun.
But that was an odd one.
That's fun. What was the weather like? Any weather related issues?
It was a little misty, drizzly on Friday.
I think we had one big cloud burst before Dave got there.
Oh yeah, I did miss
That,
a
like,
solid rain.
Temperatures dropped 10 plus degrees in like a minute, and then this wind just like howled right through the valley right there, and just like tents were starting to get lifted up, and man, for about 5 minutes it was pretty bad.
Wow.
Then it all went away, and then Dave showed up. It was blue skies.
Yeah, I
We
came
got, like,
in and I brought in
what did
rainbows and whiskey rivers.
I think
Yeah.
there was one 1 minute drizzle right before the Moonlight ride or the Milky Way ride, or maybe that was the Schwalbe ride. I don't know which one, but
Yeah, there's a little drizzle before the night ride, but
it probably
saw
made
those clearing, so then we went up.
kept the dust down on the gravel roads.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of rain ahead of an event is
Yeah.
actually it gets it tacky and
Yeah.
any other weird how much did you work and how much did you sit around?
I'll tell my story really quick. Friday night was on and off with doing a bunch of stuff here and there. The amount of people that traveled from all over to do Grinduro was pretty cool.
Is pretty impressive.
Like-
from
Yeah.
England, Japan, Italy, like where else it has stops. I mean, this is the one U.S. stop of Grinduro is in Pennsylvania now.
Yeah.
And so it is getting people from France and Germany and Italy and Japan and England
It's
to come out to it.
and probably because I was used to even for unpaved, you get people that come from all over. But there was a couple that drove directly up from Florida, got there really late, and they left at 1 a.m. Sunday morning to drive back so they could be at work on Monday.
Yeesh.
A lot of Canadians, Chicago, Rhode Island, Boston, but then other
Pittsburgh.
countries.
Wow.
It was cool.
Wow.
So it was in that aspect of it, the way I looked at the event, like it's an expensive event, well worth it, but people are traveling from all over. So my goal was to not pull anyone for mechanicals.
Okay.
Because it's an investment. I would hate
you'd hate to get there and then realize something's gone sideways
Yeah.
and I can't ride.
Yeah. So there was bikes, because people ship stuff in and flew it in. So I had some weird stuff on Friday night because just whether TSA screwed something up or just assembling. So that wasn't bad. That was fun. And then I got to talk to Casey Clark for like an hour plus Friday night.
Okay.
Him and Gordon Wadsworth, we were there together.
See, everybody was there.
Yeah. I didn't know Gordon was going to be there until I walked up to Casey and talked to Casey for like 5 minutes before the Milky Way ride, and there's like Gordon staring at me like, hey.
I could see him though. Hey.
Yeah. And then, that was okay. And then Saturday, I think I left around 8:30. I left before the ride because I knew I would get lost. Mm-hmm. My Onyx off-road app wasn't downloading the maps. Then I discovered having a Garmin Epix, I could actually get real maps on here, which helped. Mm-hmm. So I stationed myself. Well, Ariana had me stationed right where the first set of single track came off, like the bottom of it, after the first espresso aid station.
Okay.
So I was at mile 12. And mile 12, and this is why I say it would be more up your alley because you would hate all the single track. It's not easy single track.
Okay.
And there was a reroute for that one that was pretty smooth and gravelly, and the first dozen people came on the reroute. And I was like, oh, no one's taking a single track, and then everyone just started pouring down, but that was where most of the carnage was.
Yeah, I was going to ask is as soon as you got into that single track, that's when it's. What was that, Dave? You rode it. What was that single track like?
Oh, it was gnarly.
Yeah.
It had a lot of rocks at the beginning that was kind of mellow. Then it would bomb down some rooty things, and it got pretty tight. So then it got to be some hiking through that, but a few people trying. There's definitely a lot of mountain bikes that show up on this for good reason. It's not a bad.
Okay.
It's not a bad choice for good chunks of this thing. So if you're comfortable riding that for open roads, then you might as well ride a mountain bike.
Yeah.
But there was definitely opportunities, especially since the first one, to see how you're feeling. If you're feeling it, you might go for it, and then you might throw a wheel into a rock and surprise. But the parts that would open up and be rideable, and it is a lot of fun to rip a single track on a drop bar bike through the woods.
Nice.
It's a pretty magical feeling, and there's a lot of that on there too.
Well, there's also some security knowing at the end of that you're going to have this stellar mechanic who's going to be.
Oh, you don't know that at the time.
You don't know, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say stellar. I mean, Nate's way better looking than me too.
You sell yourself short.
Oh God, the first his name was Noah. Noah, I think he was he was under 18. He was a Nike kid. He came in second next to Gordon.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was 2 and 3 or 2 and 1 that were separated by 8 seconds overall.
Wow.
But Noah came, that wasn't a time segment, but Noah came bombing down at the end of that, and he hucks himself. I was taking pictures. Mm-hmm. He was in the air for way longer than I would have thought and landed on a rock.
Oh.
And instantly just heard his tire explode.
Oh.
And I was like, well, that's how today's going to go. And just everyone, and that one rock alone ate a lot of stuff, but I had people coming down with flats. I had one guy where right on top of his hood snapped his bars. I put it up on Instagram. He ate it on a rock in the middle of the single track. So we splinted it back, and I used about a roll of electrical tape because he drove from Ontario.
Okay.
He's like, I'm 12 miles in. I'm not calling it right here.
Wait a minute. He broke his bar?
His carbon bar.
But got back on it.
It was being held together by tape and the hydraulic line, but you could still just flop it over. So we just, like I said, we splinted it. I put a couple sticks in there and then wrapped the crap out of it. Okay. So he wasn't holding on to it, but he had his hand up on top. And
so he had to remember to, I know,
so he had access, so he could still shift it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Because it broke below the hood, right?
It broke above the hood, so there's no structure there.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm the type I would have eventually forgotten and gone down to it and been.
I apologize. Like I said, I forgot his name, but we fixed it. He was so excited because he didn't want to pull 12 miles on a 70-mile ride, and I followed him throughout the day because I played leapfrog. And after my time was done, I think I was supposed to be done at 2. I just kept going out, and I think I got back 7:30 or something. But At the end, he was still sitting there. He said he went over the bars once and still had fun.
Okay.
After that, he was very excited. I had multiple cracked Envy rims, but I think Envy has a no question ask replacement.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was covered in mud.
They're going to start asking about Grinduros.
Yeah. Then I found the rock. So the
Andy's
rock.
going to be like, were you in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's like, did you hit that one rock that everyone hit? 'Cause there was one rock at the bottom of that right before you get on the road that ate a couple people. But you couldn't tell it was a rock at first until enough people went over it and like ripped the moss and everything off of it.
Okay.
And you saw the current. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I went through a lot of tubes and plugs and sealing and derailleur adjustments just because of rocks.
Anything, but well, it sounds to me like that carbon bar braking would have been a showstopper and a day ender, but obviously it wasn't.
No.
Any day enders that you weren't able to?
No, I didn't pull a single person with mechanicals.
Applause! I'll hit the applause button during post. I'll be like, "That's
And
fantastic."
I don't know if a lot of people even. I drove one nice young lady back because her knee was really bad. She did hit a rock with her knee, I think. It was pretty sore, and she was at Eagles Mare, which was a yuppie, great little town. Sounds like you don't want to spend any time there.
Okay.
After I heard a lot about it, but there was this really nice little restaurant that I picked her up at. The restaurant was actually an aid station.
Okay.
So it had one
way
really
too nice for the conditions we were coming in.
Oh my God, yeah. I was telling everyone when we got back, I got there and I was kind of trying to keep the last like 20% of people, keep an eye on all them, and everyone was sitting around, and the guy that owned it had his little leaf blower and all the dried up mud. He was like trying to keep everything clean, and like they must have had like an Airbnb. Is that what you think it was, Dave, where the bathroom was?
Oh, I'm sure there's a hotel, cabin thing.
But like right on the patio there, you look like you walked into someone's house and you walked through a bedroom into this bathroom and it just got. I would say everyone was respectable as they should be, but when you have 300 people and like maybe half of them have to use bathrooms,
and you're covered in mud. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But it was nice. They had like an outdoor bar. It was such a nice aid station.
Okay.
For something that's just not a tent in the field, but the tent in the field aid stations were awesome.
Reminds me of like
you go from Larry's Tavern. Yeah. Larry's Tavern to the Eagles Mare Inn was quite the what? Huh? Who? What?
Yeah.
Where do I belong? Larry's.
It was a cool little place. But yeah, overall, my watch saved me on a lot of those roads. I did pick up another Purple Lizard map. Mm-hmm. I had to find a park ranger at World's End because I just kept getting disoriented on course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he got that, and that helped me a lot. And then I did about 150, 200 miles in my car, I think, on Saturday.
Well, you got going back and forth, and
a lot of it was those service roads, so my back was pretty sore.
How did they? Did they have like?
I told Dave it was tiring driving around all day.
Did they?
It is, right?
They'll have radio support for like where you need to go. Any of that? How'd you figure out where you needed to go?
Good old fashioned maps.
No. I mean, like, did anybody tell you? It was like, oh, you got a thing to go to at.
Ariana gave me two times to be at two places.
Okay.
My second one was with the only actual radio out there too was the EMS that I knew of.
Okay.
Or that I know of.
Okay.
So it was, and I think I rolled in around 7:30.
Okay.
So I will say I think Dave got like some of the last bit of barbecue that he had to scarf down. And then I finally
got
in around 7:30.
Yeah.
What'd you eat all day, Joey?
I ate sunflower seeds. No, I forgot I ate sunflower seeds in the car. I didn't eat breakfast. I got a Endo's coffee in the morning, and then the EMS people forgot I was there and ate all the pizza at the aid station I was at for lunch. And then by the time I was able to get to the food truck, they had one thing of mac and cheese left, like one little cup of it. And I was like, that's gonna be so good. And she announced it was sold out, and I looked behind me, and it's like the nice lady who was DFL.
Okay.
Was standing right behind me, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I was like, I'll buy her mac and cheese for her. She can have it. Yeah, and then so I bought a T-shirt from him. It was a cool tie-dye shirt. But
nice.
I ate pistachios and a cookie. Jesse's pistachio. I was sitting. I don't know. We were sitting with Dave.
Smoked pistachios.
I brought them up. Carl from Carl was sitting next to me. We shared some. He brought some cookies, but that was it. All I ate Saturday.
Nice. Well,
my camp stove didn't have the right attachment, so
you had all this food that you couldn't produce.
Correct.
That's what happened to Joey.
Yeah. But yeah, Carl from Alabaster did get me a couple coffees on Saturday.
Dave, what was your experience with food for the weekend?
I ate a lot better than that. I'll tell you that right now. I ate like a
I did get French
hero.
fries. Sorry.
I was thinking about it because I'm comparing it also to Unbound, which was the week before, and how radically different these events are, even though they took me the same amount of time, basically. One was 70 miles, one was 100. So at Unbound, I had like oatmeal for breakfast, a Stoop waffle or two in the morning, probably a gel or two, then a couple paydays and a 1/3 of a Subway sandwich at the rest stop, and then probably a couple more waffles, a couple more gels, and a couple Uncrustables. At Grinduro, I started with a big breakfast sandwich. I started with a espresso from Endo because he was pulling free espressos. Then I went into the food line and had a cup of camp coffee with the breakfast sandwich through food, which got me to the Alabaster coffee line. So waiting half hour for Carl's unbelievable espresso lattes. So that was my morning meal plan. Got out on course. We did the first segment, came pretty early in. It was about a 1.5 mile climb, which got you to the same vista that the Milky Ride went to. And that was Jake again, pulling more espresso, and he had bunches of fresh donuts from a local bakery. So donuts and espresso there. Finally left that Vista spot full and then rode down the single track to where Joey was. I was fine on mechanicals, so I just kept rolling. That got us out to, actually ended up riding with Eric Shivner, from Canton Club for a good while. That was fun. We rode up the World's End climb together, which is forever and a day. Got you up to a grassy double track area, which was segment 2, which is probably about actually I have it right here.
You guys remember all
about
this.
a mile?
I can remember some of this stuff. I don't know what my brain doesn't work well enough to remember things with this vivid a detail.
And it comes back as we go through it. I'm like, yeah, then I took that right. Oh, yeah, that was the segment. And that was a mile long of grassy, chunky road, but kind of a Jeep road, but not like single track. Yeah. Finish that, ride up a little bit, and boom, there's Larry's Tavern, the infamous super aid station of all aid stations of Pennsylvania icon.
Explain Larry's Tavern. Explain Larry's Tavern real quick.
So the history of Larry's Tavern, way back when, probably 20 years ago now, Mike Kuhn, who helped start and organize many great events in Pennsylvania, and his dad, Larry, was an Uber volunteer. And his dad was getting older. He would more kind of drive around and manage, which was pretty cool. But our buddy Chris, who was also helping out with all these events, he set up an impromptu aid station with PBRs as you got to the top of the hike-a-bike for Iron Cross, and they called it Larry's Tavern. It said Larry's Tavern, open 10 to 3, 1 day a year. And so you'd stop there and give a beer, and that was pretty much it, and pat on the back, and then you can make it kind of like the chase situation. If you can make it to Larry's Tavern, you're probably going to make it. You'll get there.
Okay.
It's evolved over the years. A little less beer now, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So instead, they did, they were roasting nuts right there at the camp, or at their setup. They had a fire with your own, do your own popcorn. So they had the kettle things there on the handles that you would kind of roast your own popcorn over fire.
Jiffy Pop.
They had tricycle races for bonus points to win valuable prizes from their sponsor. It was amazing. So there's 50 people there just hanging out, not ready to go to do another section because it was so cool there. I mean, it's Larry's Tavern is just where you want to hang out in the woods all day.
Nice.
But eventually you have to leave.
So now by this time in the day, you have consumed more food than
Already,
Joey probably has in the last
warming
2
up.
days combined.
Yeah.
I didn't eat a lot at Grinduro.
That left Larry's Tavern down a really fun creek trail that bombed down across the creek, and then a horrible hike-a-bike up out of the little canyon we were in, which took forever, but, got there, chatting with friends, hiking hi-ho the whole way. Got out of there, rolled back on the road, did a road climb up to Eagles Mare, which is where we believe the first Philadelphia millionaires went to hide their money. It's so strange leaving the woods of the endless mountains into this posh cottage area around a private lake. You cannot use their lake. You cannot use their trails. But they let us into their inn, and we
Destroyed it.
trucked mud all over it. And
Respectfully.
Like Little Switzerland on the Parkway. Like, Little Switzerland's like, you go here, you can't go here. Don't go here, you can go here.
a little bit of that, yeah. But they were very, very, very nice to let us through and kept making more wrap sandwiches, and very friendly bartender served beer, and it was super friendly. As weird as it was very, very nice to be in there.
Nice.
Roll out of there. Actually went down the hill where the toboggan was invented. There's a little historic sign there.
Good grief.
Right there in Eaglesmere.
Well, that's where it's all that toboggan money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Trademark on toboggan. Genius.
Toboggan subculture.
Another fun single track that was more level. That one was probably the most fun single track of the day. Popped out to the road, take a right, and there's the next aid station because, it's been like half hour since I ate last.
You're making Joey hungry now.
I know, it's so good. And that's where the French fries and birch beer was.
Okay. Did you get birch beer?
Oh, yeah.
You got birch beer.
And I got a hand-delivered bottle before everything from Dave.
Okay, good.
But yeah, birch beer on the keg and fries being fried right there. Salted, delicious, spicy mayo, just like the Belgians would do it. Oh, so good. And other things too. Standard aid station food. That circled around. It was like either a 5 or like 10-mile circle back to that, depending if you're doing Grindito or Grinduro. If you're doing Grinduro, you divert it off this lovely gravel road into super chunky Jeep road. That was the next segment, and that segment was segment 3 was how long?
Did anybody
1 1/3 miles?
When you're looking at it, did anybody ride the event in costume? Were there any costumes? I know that sometimes costumes are a thing.
Not right.
No costumes, a lot of casual wear, a lot of good fashion sense, maybe.
Okay.
Celine was on point.
Okay.
Dave looked great in his GTD stuff.
Okay.
That's true. I was dressed up like a GT gravel travel dirt podcaster.
Yeah. But no llama costumes.
One more week and you qualify.
You get the punch card?
I think you'll actually be here longer than you may have actually at this point in time. Way to go back and do the numbers, but you probably have been on more episodes than Wes. So yeah. That means I got to start paying him. Damn it.
You're getting paid?
I'm getting wait. Joey's right. Joey's still on. Yeah, so that was a 1.25 miles of fun, chunky, like definitely still pushing what gravel bikes do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After it was, oh, goodness gracious, 5 miles maybe of just, the Grinduro Tech Center. So 2 miles of slow, single track, creek crossing, wiggle your bike through the woods sort of stuff, which at that point I was kind of tired of, but got through it. It was super pretty in there. This is gravel.
Did you leave any blood on the on course?
No blood this trip.
Time. Okay, so no blood. You've left plenty of blood in Pennsylvania.
I think
I know, yeah.
The only injury was the same guy like 3 times. I swear to God.
Well,
that happens.
He ate it really hard at the first aid station, or where I was, and then was at the EMS station. He was all bloody, got wrapped up, and then when I saw him at the French fry place, he had different color bandages.
Sorry, guy. Sorry, random injury guy.
Very nice, but,
we're laughing, but we're not laughing. We've all been there. He finished on 2 wheels and 2 feet.
Yep.
So yeah. As long as you get there. That's all that matters.
Let's see. Finally, pop out of the woods and back to gravel, then down the road for a little bit, and then back up through World's End, and then up another climb, which takes you to another amazing vista that just overlooks, like, again, endless mountains pouring down to the river. It's just spectacular. Then the 4th and final segment started, and that was 2 miles of gravel that was rolling, gradual uphill, but also some fun downhill on it as well. So good motor section. Brought you back to more French fries, hooray! And then a stellar gravel descent for, that was like another 1.5 miles. Got out to a pretty area, and then an option to ride up to yet another vista. This is like the Seven Mountain Vista, where you go up and it's a panoramic view of the area, and they had a photo booth up there, and that's such a good job. A lot of people skip it because it is probably 3 more miles, about 2 of it climbing, but it's so worth it to get up there.
Yeah, especially
we had beautiful weather on Saturday, so it was definitely worth it.
Okay.
And then it was 4 miles of descending, and then some level roads and covered bridges back to camp.
And was there any like okay, I'm done, but then here go climb this last 1 mile hill to get to the finish, or was it pretty mellow after that? Did it finish on a mellow?
It was pretty mellow after that. There was a little bump, but nothing major. You could definitely once you came down the fast hill, you had some energy left. You could do a fast road section, then the back quiet roads, and then it was pretty doable after the Vista spot.
I always appreciate that. The mellow finish, you go to Grosk, and that finish at Grosk is always because you leave in the morning and you're not paying that much attention to where you're heading out of the little place, and then when you come back in at the end of the long day, it's oh my god, what So the mellow finish is nice. That's all.
There's mellow finishes, there's mountaintop finishes. Maybe that's this or that down the road.
Oh, that's a great one. We'll have to do that. Anything else to wrap up with Grinduro? I think you've convinced me that it's something not to be missed.
It was so cool getting back. There was this divider. There was this little hill, and there's a huge slip and slide.
Oh, really?
But I was walking around. I wasn't antisocial. I was trying to get back to my car, so I went the back way, where you're on this little mound, and then over here is all the event stuff with the band playing, people everywhere, the food trucks, and then on the other side is 100 or something plus tents, and people were partying over there. It was just all around you was a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, you've convinced me, and the two of you recounting the course of the weekend and all of the festivities. I mean, it's obviously something not to be missed, and I am sad that I missed it. I had FOMO, and for sure, but that's okay. That's okay. There's next year, and hopefully it'll.
Yeah, it's pretty. There's friends. There's no cell phone service. The riding's awesome. I didn't ride, but
nice.
I will go back and work again too.
Excellent. You guys want to dive into this or that? Your mission is accomplished.
Hey, I think I never asked you. The other night I was in my tent and I was having a little asthma spasm. I kept coughing, and I think I heard you, Dave, quiet down over there. And then
nope,
was that not you? Because whoever did that was having a minute later got some horrible sneeze. They sneezed 100. I was like, that's what you get.
Were the tents tight? Was it tight tents? You were in your rooftop, right?
No. Yeah, but we were up top. We weren't with all the other people up.
Okay. Because you were.
Yeah, they were down the hill. That's
down the hill. Yeah, we were.
The commoners were down the hill. Yeah, we had.
I wanted walking distance to the bathroom, the shower houses. Shower houses actually were pretty nice. All in all, the amenities and stuff were pretty solid. I like that better than the hot shower trucks from the first year.
Oh, I hate shower trucks.
The trailer trucks. That was just a sauna. So I ended up doing a hobo bath in the river with everyone.
I am not a fan of the shower truck.
Yeah.
The shower trucks are always miserable, and not a fan.
I will say the last bit is that's the biggest fundraiser for the Pickle League for the Pennsylvania NICA, which was awesome. Yeah, a lot of the volunteers were all pickle parents. And kids too. It was cool.
Excellent. Well, we'll put it on the radar for next year.
Yeah.
And maybe Joe, you can come ride it instead of work it.
Oh no, I've ridden up there once.
Never need to do it again. Okay. All right.
He just said we talked him into it. No, I'm not riding that. No, sorry.
Okay, this or that. Dave, you're up first. I'm going to follow up second, and Joe, you're last. These are somewhat Grinduro related, I believe. Hike a bike or gnarly downhill?
I will gnarly downhill.
Yeah?
Send it.
Yep. Oh, that's a tough one for me. I hate the hike a bike, but I also fear death and dismemberment and injury. So a super gnarly downhill would probably get me off my bike, or else. See, what I worry about on a gnarly downhill is that I'm holding people up behind me, because I can pick my way through stuff. Mm-hmm. I can make it, but am I in the way? Joey?
I'll do the gnarly downhill.
Yeah.
The only thing that Dave has that I need to put back on my rodeo is a dropper post would be. That's dropper post territory.
Okay.
I'd probably run 2.2s on the rodeo for that event.
It's interesting watching a lot of the Unbound recaps now and how fat and wide tires are. Dylan Johnson was running mountain bike tires. And it's so this works for Unbound smooth gravel and for Grinduro mountain bike gravel.
So it was like when we went down to Richmond to do Monster Cross. It had that kind of like vibe where there's a lot of like mountain bikes and a lot of heavier kind of duty stuff.
Yeah.
What it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was not a lot of aero
No, God, no. It was so nice not having all
gravel
that.
bikes.
Like, Gordon, who won the pro category, was on this really nice Revel gravel bike. And then Noah, who won second, was like on a Trek Super Caliber, which is a cross-country race mountain bike.
Okay. So it's
And
more
we saw
about
the full gambit of everything.
more about the rider than the bike. I like to hear that. Second item, Dave, carbon rims for Pennsylvania single track or aluminum for gravel events?
Well, I'm running Stan's Carbon on my Pennsylvania gravel bike now that just handled all that and seems to be working like a champ. So gravel, carbon on all the gravel, whatever gravel.
I will go carbon all day long because every time I've put those stupid GRX wheels on my bike, they blow up.
Those bad wheels.
So they're either bad wheels or just aluminum sucks. And you know what? When I bought those wheels, it was like, oh, yeah, you can run over it with your car. Specialized take care of it. So I'm all about that. I'm all about the carbon rims. Somebody will get me out of the woods if it fails.
If I were to do the carbon, I would definitely run Cushcore.
Oh, yeah?
It's the only wheel. But the nice thing is, even though the carbon wheels were cracked, they weren't horrible, is carbon holds its true pretty well. Yeah, true pretty well.
Uh-huh.
So everyone was still able to ride.
So,
But I'm still an aluminum fan.
and like I said from the last one, I wouldn't be full sending, no gnarly downhill. So I wouldn't be launching my bike into
Doesn't take much.
a rock wall. Okay, third item. Scrapple or haggis? I don't even know what haggis is. It sounds horrible.
I don't quite know either. This is on here because the organizers of Grinduro International are Brits, and so I sold them in on Scrapple as they were looking into Pennsylvania. I'm like, somehow this needs to be a theme of this, and then they had some. They're like, no. So then we started asking them. I have had absolutely miserable, terrible Scrapple that made me. What's the
Barf?
what's it? Close. Reflex vomit, like just right back. But then also had it not bad fried with a lot of pepper, hot.
What is haggis, though? What is haggis? I don't even know what it is.
I know it's from like a stomach.
Who's in front of a Google machine that can
I'm Googling
Google haggis? And is that even spelled right? Haggis?
Yep.
It's just sound. The name alone.
It's the national dish of Scotland, a type of pudding composed of the liver, heart, and lungs of a sheep, minced and mixed with beef or mutton suet,
No.
and oatmeal, and seasoned with onion, cayenne pepper, and other spices.
No.
Do you want to know what's in Scrapple?
Well, Scrapple's probably pretty much the same thing, but I grew up with people in my family eating Scrapple. I didn't grow up with anybody going, eat your haggis, boy.
What we say about Scrapple is it's good for vegetarians because it's not the meat. It's all the rest.
Everything. But I would go with Scrapple because Scrapple, my thing with Scrapple, and I think, Joe, you're going to say the thing, it's got to be really thinly sliced and really fried crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like bacon thin. Then it's palatable, but that mushy Scrapple in the middle.
Well, you've been like when we go fry extra crispy, so they do it twice.
Okay.
That's your only hope.
Scrapple is made of hog offal, such as the head, heart, liver, and other trimmings, which are boiled with any bones attached and often entire head to make a broth. Once cooked bones, blah, blah, blah. That's enough of that.
What is wrong with bacon, friends, for a breakfast
Yeah,
meat?
but
It's
good
more than the pig. You can't.
cast iron skillet Scrapple is good.
The pig is not just bacon and chops and
Yeesh.
pulled pork.
You got to use everything.
Fourth item this week, Subaru Crosstrek or Toyota Tacoma? Dave, you're the decider in this because I know we're going to split over here.
Oh, mine. Well, then you guys probably should go first, and I'll muck it up at the end.
No. You go.
I'll just say this came up because when you're at event parking lots now, those are the two predominant vehicles in the gravel cycling scene. I had a Toyota Tacoma when I first started event promoting because it's a great vehicle for that. I apparently had the one lemon Toyota Tacoma on the planet, and so I traded it in for a Subaru Crosstrek, which I love dearly.
Nice.
So Subaru Crosstrek.
I'm a Tacoma. I got to have my truck. If Subaru made a little truck, I might consider it.
Bring back
The Brat.
Baja.
Yeah,
Or the Brat.
if Subaru had like a form factor that looked like a Toyota truck, I need a truck bed. I've driven a truck my entire life, and I don't think I could ever not have a truck bed. I don't know what I'd do without a truck bed. Joey, say Tacoma.
God no. I had a really nice TRD whatever for 6 weeks when Jess got in an accident.
Yeah.
And it made me hate the Tacoma even more.
Why? Why? What was it?
It wasn't a truck, but it wasn't a car. The bed was useless for truck stuff, and the back seat was so small for doing anything. And maybe
I'll say this:
I'm not a Crosstrek fan either, and we own one.
I was an F-150 driver. I went
I
through
had mine for 12 years.
Yeah, I went through 2 of them. And when the kids were out of the house, I went to the smaller truck because I used to have one of the very original versions, even one of Toyota's very first trucks, and I always loved it. So I can see the issue of the bed being small, but it's plenty for what I need.
Dude, I couldn't even put my mountain bike in the bed.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I ride a large, but
I see that.
I mean, me and Dave are car twins now, so
okay,
that's true. Now I try to get bigger. Now I have an Outback.
Yeah, black Outbacks for the win.
Okay.
I don't know. The Crosstrek's also really small too.
You remember when we
the
were?
Crosstrek's fun to drive.
It's
new
way
one.
fun to drive. And when I traded mine in, I had an Easy Up and a few other event things that I had in the back of the truck. And I went to my buddy at the Subaru dealer. I'm like, if this stuff can get into a Crosstrek, I'll buy it right now. And that's what we did. We emptied it and put it into a Crosstrek. I'm like, it fits. All right, let's just sign paperwork.
Hey, it's
already in the car.
What works. I remember, was it last year at Grusk? You weren't there, and
that was post totaled car, right?
Yeah, we were sitting in the field, and somebody in our little group had a friend roam by, and it was a young girl, and she had a pump in her hand, and she relayed to this story to us that she had a failure on course, had borrowed a pump, and was going to return it at the end of the event, and the identifier that she was given was to look for a blue Subaru. And she's like, every other car here is a blue Subaru. Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. It's either a Subaru or Toyota.
I'll still pick the Crosstrek.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to. You're the family. You're in the family.
The new ones have the same engine as the Outbacks, so you can switch to sport mode. It's really zippy.
Yeah?
Like Jess's old one, the 2015, would take about 6 minutes to merge.
Okay. On the Tacoma forums, people...
Also, the Tacoma would take about 7 minutes to merge.
Well, it's a truck. That's my point. It's like people in Tacoma forums complain about the fact, oh, that's so slow. It's like, you didn't buy a sports car, buddy. You bought a truck.
Oh, I know I bought an Outback.
Yeah.
So, it is a slow grandma mobile, but I drive it like that.
Last one, we have a bonus, 5th this week. Stand in a half-hour line for grade A espresso or just chug down some instant camp coffee.
This came to me as I was standing in the half-hour line for grade A espresso, finishing the coffee, and this woman behind me is like, and I'm going to say, she said to me in France, is like, well, there's a cup of jus de chaussette. I'm like, what's that? Like, the French call sock juice.
Sock juice.
Like, yeah, that's a good band name. It's not a good cup of coffee.
Sock juice.
So, yeah, I will stand in line for grade A. I'm not a coffee snob, but boy, good coffee is fantastic.
So
Alabaster is top notch.
I don't do the coffee thing, but I will transfer this into, like, for me it would be like having like fresh brewed iced tea or having like 3-day-old iced tea, and I would much prefer something of a little bit better quality over the instant gratification. So, but half an hour in a line for just an espresso is rich.
It may not have been that long, but that's fine. You're talking to people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm like Dave. I'm not a coffee snob, but Carl's coffee was very good this weekend.
So good.
Jake's espresso shots were very good. And then Sunday I did get a small cup of camp coffee after a cup of Carl's coffee. And then I got another cup of Carl's coffee after the camp for the road because there's nowhere to get coffee after that. But the camp coffee isn't bad. Like, there's something good. It's like frying pan. You know that coffee, like the big old silver steep thing, probably never gets cleaned, so it keeps its flavor.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. I like 7-Eleven coffee, so like that sells a lot about me.
We have the French presses in the trailers, and then inevitably on one of the trips, somebody will like I need to wash the press, and they'll like throw all this soap into the French press, and you see the true coffee drinkers
you can rinse it,
like
but not.
Literally like cringing as they introduce soap into the French press.
The one thing that I should have brought was a jet boil because Carl sells their coffee tea bags.
Oh yeah,
And I got
forgot about
him.
those.
He got me hooked on those a couple years ago at Grinduro, and I got another box from him.
Nice.
And there's that nice balance of
Nice.
yeah.
Well, that wraps up our This or That's. And I want to thank the two of you for convincing me to begin saving money to go to Grinduro next year. But, Joey, it does help when you say it goes to a good cause.
Okay, let's take like a 2-minute sidetrack. I think everything nowadays that's all right, Dave. How much is unpaved? Sorry.
I forget the number right now. Let's say 175.
Yeah, but unpaved is that. Croatan is similar. Grinduro is probably the most out of them all. But I think everything that we go to, you 100% see where everything is so well. I spent $200 on Dirty Kansas to literally bring my own support, my own food,
Now,
everything. Now, I know all that money you had to pay the police and you got to like stuff on the town. But that was one event where you got nothing out of it.
I mostly joke,
Not
and
nothing.
it was Jack and I were talking about going, and it was one of the things that hadn't even been on my radar, and I didn't really know that much about it. And I opened it up and saw the link and saw the pricing, and then all the add-ons for the camping and all the other things that go along with it. So I think for me, and I agree with you, Joey. I don't think the pricing is too far out with regards to a 3-day festival with good music and food and all that stuff going on, showers and everything you got going on. I joke. It was one of those things where we hadn't planned it. I had no idea what it was, opened it up, and basically saw a pretty hefty price tag.
And it's like someone's doing all the routes and doing all the marking. On Dirty Kansas,
I get it.
There wasn't a single marker on course.
Yeah, I get it. And I joke. I actually, from what you guys have described for the weekend, it sounds like it's actually a pretty good deal. Multiple rides, food, music,
You got
festivities.
meal tickets, beer tickets.
Yeah.
I did have pizza Friday night, and they had like 2 big Gosneys in the back of this truck, and the pizza was very good.
Yeah.
And the barbecue smelled good, and there was like 4 food trucks.
So I will take all of those comments that I've made about the pricing back.
No. I actually think that's really, it is important from the event promoter side.
Yeah.
Like what those pain points are, what the value proposition is, how you present that it's not Grinduro 1-day ride, but it's a 3-day event.
Yeah.
And that, those things are hard to get across on a bike reg page.
Yeah.
And so it needs all this other stuff around it, needs all this other stoke built up. And, it's going to take probably a couple, 3 years. I think they're at it now where it's like, all right, here's the stoke level is so high, it is going to draw more people in. Where like the first year, there's probably like 150 of us, maybe 200 or so.
Yeah, it was good though.
And it's like, okay, because a lot of people are like, I'm not paying all that for a gravel ride. And it's like, well, it's more than that. But how do you express that? I mean,
how do you communicate it? And it didn't really come across. And maybe that's why I had that reaction when Jack said, "Hey, let's go. Joey's going to be there." And both of us looked at it, and it's funny because both Jack and I immediately messaged each other. We're like, money? What in the world? Yeah. and neither one of us are people that typically look at something and let money be the deciding factor. I'm not the one that I would look at that and it would be like, well, what else is wrapped up in it? And maybe I didn't have the time to digest because it was such a last minute sort of idea. It was like literally a week and a half before the event. So maybe there was that kind of.
You'll spend. I bet if you signed up for Unbound now, I bet the average person spends close to $2,000 start to finish.
We're still doing the math. I still don't know how much we spent on the whole thing, and we are special butterflies. Like housing for media was taken care of, all that sort of stuff. So it's traveling out to Kansas. That's it. So you don't get the same amount of stuff, right? You got a food ticket and a beer. At the finish, a pint glass, a very nice medal. But what you got was everything else that made it gigantic that you feel and you don't necessarily leave home with or get to eat.
Yeah.
Grinduro goes the opposite side where it's super tangible of what those things are. And that, camping is, I was just looking at the prices again.
If we were still doing
like $220 for the thing, but it does come with camping. It does come with 2 breakfasts and I think 1 or 2 dinners and like 2 or 3 beer tickets and all this stuff happening all around you.
Yeah. If we were still pulling titles, this episode would definitely be titled "Special Butterflies."
Special butterfly?
We're special butterflies.
I do say that a lot. I gotta work on
The funny thing, when you guys did Gravel Worlds, Jess was like, "Oh, I got a free entry," and she was all excited. It's like, "I don't have to spend them." I'm like, and not in a very nice way. I was like, "Well, that's the cheapest part about doing something like Midwest Gravel."
100%. Yeah.
I was like, "That's the inexpensive part," but it's.
Well, like I said, thank you for convincing me that this is something not to be missed. And I probably should have just paid attention to all of the people that I know that go to this thing. And
yeah, I'm only getting heavy on the money side because I think the Mid-Atlantic stuff, you get so much better bang for the buck.
Well, yeah, because you don't have the travel component.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go out to the Midwest, I mean,
yeah.
the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic, I mean, there's a giant mass of people here that go out there to do that thing. But you're going 16 hours by car in one direction and 16 hours back, whereas, to get to the Endless Mountain region of Pennsylvania is 5 hours, 6 hours.
Yeah. I'm just saying Mid-Atlantic has the best gravel. You don't have to travel far.
Yeah. So why do we need to go anywhere? Let's stop going anywhere.
I was trying to incorporate dirt in there because we have the best gravel and you don't have to travel.
We also have the best dirt.
We have the best dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the dirt. That is the dirt. All right, fellas.
That's the dirt.
Let's shut this thing down. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt, recorded from right here at Patuxent Adventure Center in Solomons, Maryland, all the way up to the basement bar in Dave's house in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. Joey, how can folks get in touch with us?
A lot of people, I don't think anyone assaulted me or touched me that way, but had a lot of fun, friendly people come up to me. I apologize if I don't remember everyone's names this past weekend. If you want to actually connect on social media, Instagram is Mid-Atlantic Gravel. What is our Instagram handle? It's at
Mid-Atlantic GTD.
Mid-Atlantic GTD, and our website's at graveltraveldirt.com, where you can get the Burger King stickers and shirts.
Yeah.
Before we get
Gravel
sued.
King, not Burger King. Gravel King.
Gravel King, yeah.
You said Burger King.
I know. I'm looking at the Gravel King on my walls over there.
Hall of Flame.
Tires, yeah.
That's what I should have put underneath it. Thanks for everybody for riding along. Until next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.